is purely electrical training. Now, what is that diagram for? That diagram will be for motors, UPS, motor controls, and other electrical diagrams. At the end of this lesson, you will be able to explain electrical wiring diagrams, explain electrical schematic diagrams, explain one-line diagram, explain block diagrams, explain earthing diagrams, and be familiar with electrical symbols. So where do you find those electrical symbols? You can find your electrical symbols on the MCC panel layout. So mostly you will find symbols like relays, capacitors, breaker symbols, contactor symbols, and others. So basically we have different standards on diagram. We have the ANSI standards, which the American are using, and we have the IEC diagram, which is the European, they are using that kind of diagram. So what is the necessity? In order for you to test or troubleshoot a motor which is not running, you need your electrical diagrams. Okay? So there are many different ways of showing in drawing form how an electrical circuit works. These are all termed diagrams and use simple symbols to represent complete equipment or elements of equipment. So complete equipments means like motors, UPS, inverter, rectifier. Elements of equipment, what that could be? Capacitor, transistor, diodes, wires. Okay. Wiring and connecting diagrams, schematic diagrams, one-line diagram. These are the different types of diagrams. Okay. Wiring and connection diagrams, that is the hard diagrams, like the power circuit. No? Power circuit, which you have measured the power on the motor, which contains the 434 volts yesterday. Right? You measured line 1, line 2, line 3. Between the phases line 1 and line 2, or U1 and B1, you got 434 volts. Okay? Schematic diagram to enable the reader to separate out each stage of a succession of operation from initiating action to the final action. So schematic is mostly on control, okay, and sequence. One line diagram shows the circuit breaker, the transformer, and all the motors connected in the whole industrial plant. Okay, that is single line diagram. We are going to show you what are those diagrams. It is on the handout. So these are the different types of diagrams, including the block diagrams. Block diagrams, it is a simple form of diagram used when it is not necessary to go into detailed circuit. It shows only blocks, squares, rectangles, triangles, circles, which explains how the operation works. Like the UPS, the inverter, the rectifier, it shows some block diagrams. Okay? Logograms, for quick comprehension of an electrical circuit and to enable the electrician to solve a problem more quickly. Earthing diagrams, it shows your earthing system. So this is the sample of a wiring diagram. I call it hardwire diagram because it consists all the wire connection to the terminal box. Okay, this is just a sample. Actually, we have that in the MCC. We have that in the industrial plant also. That is your wiring connecting diagrams. Schematic diagrams, mostly it shows the controls. Okay, light on, light off, red light, green light, stop, remote, local, fuses. The rules, of course, the rules you start from. There are a number of conventions which, if they are observed when preparing a schematic, make the reading of the diagram and show the location of trouble areas much easier. Every sequence should be drawn from left to right. So you can start from left to right. Up to you on how you decide. But mostly, I do it from left to right. Some people start from top to bottom, left to right. Some people, they start from the top, going down. Especially power circuit diagram. Okay? So this is for you to read and analyze. So these are the rules. All contacts and elements which are in series should be drawn as far as possible in a straight line with the elements which they control. All contacts and elements which are in parallel should be drawn as far as possible. And elements which are in parallel should be drawn as far as possible, side by side and at the same level, so as to emphasize their parallel function. So the rules are so many, you just read it. Now if you are going to read it, how are you going to read it? Based on our diagram. No? Basically, if you are going to read that one, you start from the top, going down to the second part of it, to the third part of it, and down to the contactor or overload relay, then down to the three-phase motor. So how are you going to read this one? What is Q1? Very good. Q means a circuit breaker. Contactor means? Yeah, it's a disconnecting device actually. No? Okay. What is this? K? Contactor. What is this? Overload. And what is this? Three-phase motor. So that's how you read it. No? Basically, if you are going to read this diagram, okay, you read from the top going down. So what is that? Q1. Okay. It could be a circuit breaker, it could be a fuse, but as long as it is a disconnecting means. Okay? In case a current becomes high, it will open. Now, Carol, what is this? Okay. Carol, what is this? I think Christopher answered it. What is this, Carol? 95, 96. 95, 96. You'll find it here. What is this? Yes. Is it an overload? Yes.